Mr. Garcia?
Certainly, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to come out of executive session.
Yep. Can I have a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Could I just clarify the second, please?
Frisbee.
Second by Frisbee, it was moved by.
Gonzalez.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards,
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg,
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, I believe at this time, we have a presentation for Trenton Animal Shelter.
We have a discussion.
Discussion of,
Thank you.
certainly.
Sure.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam President, Madam Vice President and Council. Diego Minacapelli, Health and Human Services Interim Director.
Thank you. So I have some questions for you this evening, as they pertain to the animal shelter, just to bring us up to speed on exactly what's been going on. Can you tell us, we recently acquired a place in Columbus, New Jersey,
Yes.
where we were supposed to be able to house animals that currently are in Yardley, Pennsylvania, or Newtown, PA, right? So the animals are there. We acquired this property to have the animals moved there because we're paying a significant amount of money for them to be in Pennsylvania. What is the status of the Columbus, New Jersey location? Is it complete? Are we ready to go? Can the animals go there?
At the moment, what we're doing is we are doing our surveys to delineate the limits of the property. We're doing the inspections phase, and also we're gathering quotes for the renovations.
Okay, so let's get back to it. When did we acquire this property?
This property was acquired on July 29th, 2024.
Okay, and we're just now doing surveys and inspections and stuff?
Yes.
Why?
This was before my tenure, so to gather the information, the resolution, I think the resolution was 24-68, understanding the purpose of this has taken me up to this time.
Okay, so prior to you being on in the time that we acquired the property, there were no surveys done of the property and there were no inspections done. So you said to do the renovations, so it's been found that there are necessary renovations to the property for us to be able to use it?
We need to go over renovations, yes.
There's renovations. Can you tell us the dollar amount of the renovations?
At this moment, I cannot because I'm gathering the quotes for it.
Okay. Is there a septic system?
Yes,
There is. Was there one when we acquired the property?
yes. The septic system, yes.
So a septic was, so with regards to that and a tank, there was nothing that had to be, everything was in line as far as the septic.
Right, but we're doing the inspections of that septic system now.
How much do we pay we pay quarterly over in Pennsylvania?
Yes.
How much do we pay quarterly?
Right now, we have to, from August up to now, we have to pay $195,000.
So close to $200,000
Yes.
a quarter
Yes.
is what we pay for that. How many animals do we have currently at the Trenton shelter?
At the Trenton Animal Shelter, we have 50 dogs and 4 cats.
50 dogs, 4 cats. How many dogs have been euthanized since your last report?
44 dogs and, let me,
And that's just from the Trenton location?
yes, 44 dogs and um, 7 cats.
Have any been euthanized over in Pennsylvania?
No.
Okay. How many dogs do we have over in PA currently?
In PA, we have 51 dogs.
With regards to the animals that are over in Pennsylvania, do we have workers that go over there to deal with those animals? Like I see that the animals here in Trenton, they get walked and they move around and all that kind of stuff like that. Are the animals in Pennsylvania getting the same kind of care and treatment?
Yes, that is by the service that we pay.
So recently it was brought to my attention that there was approximately $100,000 worth of gifted renovations made to the Trenton Animal Shelter. And it was given by a business that does not operate legally in the city. Can you speak to that? Because the council has seen no resolution or anything about that. So I'd like someone to speak to that, and also what is the process typically when we're taking any kind of donations such as that?
Council President
Yes.
Maria Richardson, BA, if you would allow me to.
Yes,
respond
thank
to
you.
That question, thank you. This is a very unusual situation. I was informed by Director Minacapelli, Dr. Minacapelli, of the possibility of the shelter being accepting donations. I haven't been able to confirm the exact amount of the donations.
Mhm.
Per Dr. Minacapelli, the donor alleges that it was work and materials. But he hasn't produced anything in writing that will confirm the amount of the donation.
But was the
ap-
work done? Was there work?
Yes,
done?
there was work being done, and it appears that the amount of the donation is more than what we will be able to accept without issuing a resolution.
Did you approve this?
No, I did not.
How is work
But-
done? How can work be done such as that, or donations taken in such large amounts like that? And no one, did Dr. Minacapelli approve it?
Dr. Minacapelli was not the director when that happens.
So who would have the authority to allow something like that to happen?
Well, honestly, in order for us to accept a donation, we really don't have a policy of how much money we could accept in a donation, right? However, all of us take ethics
Mm.
trainings, and we know that we cannot accept donation of a certain amount of money. And when we, for example, accept a grant from a private or the state or a federal government, we need to bring a resolution applying and accepting the grant. If I see that donation as a grant, that didn't happen. I have to say that after this situation, that after we face this situation, right, we have been researching for policies in place in different municipalities, and we will be bringing an ordinance before you with specific amount of money that we would be able to accept donations, or if it's above that amount, we will not. However, this donation seems to be significant enough for us to be able to accept it. I just can't because it wasn't accepted properly, and I cannot bring a resolution saying that I approve it because I didn't. And I'm pretty sure that my predecessor didn't do it either. But I have been having conversations with our law director to see how we can cure the situation.
And so what's the
And-
answer to how we can cure the situation?
Lee, do you want to?
The first step is to ascertain what the value was. And until we have a definitive number what the value was, then we can assess it and make a determination how best to bring a resolution before this body to pay it or address it. But the first step is we need to know what the value of the donation was.
Right, so just to be clear and transparent, from when I had first found out about all of this, I was asking about the protocol, the procedures, what the dollar amount, like what was going on, right? So now we're here at this point, tonight, where now we're saying we have to get the dollar amount, so let us move forward to get the exact amount. So that way we know how to accept it, right? Or how to address it moving forward. So would the move then be, once you find out what it is, would it be that the city would then have to refund the money back to the business owner? What happens?
Well, that is my recommendation, actually. We requested this person to submit invoices. Typically, in order for us to do a construction job over certain amount of money, we will have to put an RFP out or a bid. So we received services that we did not procure. So it's not like we can cure this by procuring the services because it's a little bit more encumbered than that. So my suggestion is that we actually, once we received invoices or some sort of certification that this is the amount of money that was spent, I think that we need to return the money. But I am not sure that, you know, the council will have to approve it, DCA will have to approve it, and we will have to put a resolution basically stipulating that we are returning money to a person because we accepted a donation in a form that it was inappropriate.
That is my recommendation as well. We're gonna have to ascertain the dollar amount. That resolution is gonna have to go before you repaying that dollar amount. That we'll have to recite in the resolution, we'll have to recite in the memo, the reason that we're paying it, and it will have to be reimbursed once the amount is, you know, identified.
Okay. And then what mechanisms are put in place, or what, excuse me, rules or whatever are put in place for personnel that would decide that it was okay to allow such things to happen? Like what's the remedy for that?
An overabundance of caution, I'd like for us to discuss that in executive,
Okay.
as opposed to having here.
Mhm.
Okay. Any council members have any
Can I,
questions?
just for the benefit of the public and the individuals present here and the council, Director Minacapelli didn't have anything to do with that situation.
Right. Thank you. Any other council members have any questions about the animal shelter?
Council President.
Yes, Council Vice President Figueroa Kember.
When were the materials and the work gifted to the shelter?
Do you recall when you called me?
That would be around
November. Dr. Minacapelli found out at the end of October. And he immediately called me to ask me if I have approved that, which I didn't.
And Dr. Acapelli, when did you come on board as the director?
July 29th of this year.
So earlier, BA Richardson, you said that he was not here at the time when this was gifted. But if the work was done and he found out in October and he came in July,
No, because when he went to the shelter and the work has been already done.
in July,
No, at the end of
October.
October.
but he came on in July, so he was not made aware of the work from July to October being on.
That is
the job as
correct.
Director. So how is this caliber of work at this magnitude of costliness of upwards of $100,000? How was this overseen? How was this overlooked? This is a great magnitude, I would assume. I don't know what $100,000 or what that consisted of.
I would not be able to respond to that because I wasn't responsible for the shelter at that time.
So before July, who was responsible for the shelter?
We're gonna,
We need to
And in
discuss that in
overabundance of caution,
executive
that's going to be
session.
executive sessionable as well.
Well, excuse me one second, Council Vice President. Wasn't there an executive order signed by the mayor assigning someone to, and that's public knowledge, that someone was assigned to the animal shelter? Is that right or wrong?
In an overabundance of caution for Oklahoma laws and as well as litigation, I would strongly recommend to council that that be discussed in executive session.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Go ahead and continue.
Okay, I mean, I just find it odd that that caliber of work could be overlooked and comes to the conclusion that it happened after the fact in that time frame without anybody noticing that that was being done.
I am not sure that we are saying that nobody noticed. I am saying that I wasn't responsible for it and Dr. Mina Capelli was not responsible at that time. I figured that somebody noticed, but nobody that is at the podium right now.
I don't know how many times I got to keep saying.
Yeah,
I don't
so-
know how many times. If in overabundance of caution, can this discussion please be had in executive session?
Director Bridges, so these questions were already asked. I don't think that we're asking, we're just trying to figure out who was responsible at the time. And basically there's a gap and where what we see is who would the responsible party be?
And Council Vice President, what's the answer to that question? A person who's an employee?
Yeah, who was
the city
responsible for the
that we have
shelter
to-
at the time?
I've given my legal advice. If you not choose to take that advice, you can answer the question. But I'm telling you, in an overabundance of caution, you are talking directly about an employee and their duties and their job. I'm only giving that information. Mr. Kaloji can opine on this if he would like to, but the fact that you're not saying names, but you're talking about individuals is still the same thing. But I will defer to Mr. Kaloji on this issue.
Okay, but in,
Mr. Bridges and I rarely disagree. My take on the Open Public Meeting Act is if you're not going to discuss somebody in executive session, you can always discuss them in public session. I'm not saying that's a good idea to do because of the attendant circumstances of each case and the delicate nature of personnel matters. It's probably a good idea to consider raising them, seeing if we could resolve it in executive session. Or if the person wants it to be discussed in public session. I believe you can discuss the individual in public session, but it may give rise to other difficulties. So even though it might be technically permissible, I kind of go along with the premise that if we could take a shot at resolving it inside, it would be better.
thank you, Mr. Kaloji, fair enough. And in the spirit of the council being aware and knowledge and the public having knowledge of what's going on, I just would like to know if you could just answer this question. Do we know who was responsible for the shelter during this time? Do we just know? Don't have to give a name. Do we know who was responsible during the time of this transaction?
Law Director, is that a question that I can answer?
Yeah, it's just a yes or
Do we
no.
know, yes or no? Do we know who was?
Council, and I will defer to Mr. Kaloji on this. We agree to disagree and count Mr. Kaloji as solely representing the council. So she can advise the council.
No, I've given my opinion. It can be discussed here. I'm not saying it should be. I think it would be better to
No,
try to
the-
resolve
the
it in exec,
question
but
is
if
that if
council person
we-
wants to discuss it here, they can discuss it here.
The question is, if we know who the person was at that
The
time.
question is which employee did
If I
whatever?
know-
No,
No,
Mr.
no,
Kaloji,
she
I don't
didn't
need to
ask the
know the
name.
name of the employee. I'm just asking, do we know who was responsible at the time? Yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question, Council Vice President? I'm sorry that I'm coming. I see you, Councilwoman Williams, 1 second. So Dr. Manicapelli, during this time, you came on in July, the work was already done. And you came on in July, the work was discovered that it was done in October. So from July to October, you never went to the shelter? Like you didn't see work being done? Like no one saw whatever was happening in that time? Like why did it take until October to realize what was going on?
If you don't want to answer, you don't have to.
I did many visits to the animal shelter, but during the time in October, I noticed that there was some construction. And that triggered my observation and I had to report it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Williams?
Thank you very much, Council President. So I have 5 questions, and they're not going to be connected to what happened earlier. But these are things that have been on people's minds, been on my mind for a while. And I'm going to try to give you a count so that you're not up there thinking, when is she going to stop asking questions? That's okay. So my first one is because this came up several times when I actually had to call in regarding dead animals on a weekend. If a Trentonian is aware of a dead animal, what should they do to call in if it's on over a weekend? Reason I asked that question, one of the times that happened for me was right near the War Memorial, just before about 1,000 people were coming there for an event.
What type of animal was it?
A dead animal. Do we have any animal control officers available on the weekend to collect dead animals? Like a cat, a dog gets run over
Yes,
by a
we do.
car?
Yes, we do. When that is cats and dogs, yes, we do. Yes.
Okay, so there shouldn't be any worry about overtime cost if it's on a Sunday?
Well, if it is, yes, of course, there is.
Okay, so would the animal likely stay there till Monday morning and then be picked up?
No, they will pick it up on the day off that you call.
Okay, thank you. And then if a Trentonian is aware of a potential illegal breeding situation, what should they do?
They should report it. However, I am in the process of finding out the breeding ordinances that you have.
Mhm.
I think in the past, you had some ordinances in your desk, but they were pulled. And so we're trying to revise them and getting back to you so we can have an ordinance and then enforce.
Okay, so the ordinances that were already worked on and passed, they are, I guess, technically on hold right now until you revise them and get them back to us?
Yes,
Do you know when we can expect those to come back to us?
in the first quarter of 2025.
Okay, great. So in 2025, do you think we'll start turning the tide in Trenton against breeding, legal breeding of animals?
One step at a time. First, we'll get the ordinances and then we enforce.
Okay, I look forward to seeing those. Thank you. And then how many animal control officers do we currently have? And then how many work after 4:30 on a weeknight?
So we have 5 ACO, animal control officers. They're all certified. And every week there's 1 ACO on call. So during the weekend, there's 1 on call.
One on call, then they would come up and then that's when overtime
Yes.
happens. Okay, gotcha. Then my last question would be regarding the kennel purchase in South Jersey. Do you have a rough idea? I know you're doing some estimations, you're getting quotes, et cetera. Do you have a rough goal, rough timeframe of when that will become operational?
Sure.
We have gotten some, I'm sorry, Council President, okay. We have received some estimates from our city engineer as of how much it's going to cost. I can give you that information later. I don't want to make it a public information because then once we put the bid out, they already know how much we are trying to spend, but it's considerably more than what we were informed at the when we purchased the kennel. Director Liston has been helping us with some zoning issues with the municipality because apparently we were not going to be able to use it as a kennel, although that's what we purchased it for. So we already, with Director Liston's assistance and Dr. Diego, we are over that process now. So once we complete the inspection process, we need to come up with the specifications of all the work that needs to be done. Our engineer is already working on that. And then we will have to put it out for bid. So that process, just to put the bid out, most likely will take us until March of 2025. So we anticipate that around May or June, we should have already awarded a contract to start the renovation. So we are not anticipating that we are going to be able to take any animals there before June, July 2025.
So it's reasonable for us to expect that this will be operational by September 1st, 2025?
I would say that,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you,
Sure.
sir. Thanks, Council President.
You're welcome. BA Richardson?
Yes.
So you said, excuse me, we made the purchase of the kennel, but then we realized that we're not able to use it as a kennel as intended, right?
Yes, that was information that we received from the municipality at a certain point, but fortunately, we were able to make some contacts at the municipality, and we are past that.
Right. So my question is, when we made the purchase of the space, who went out to look at it? Am I allowed to ask that question?
I will have
Like
to
who-
mention
who-
names and.
No, I don't
would
need the
not-
name. No, what I'm saying is, like, I go to buy a house. I go to see the house that I want to buy. I have an inspector goes out, they do their due diligence to tell me, this is good with the house, this is bad with the house. None of that happened when we purchased this. Like, did we take somebody's word on this? Like, how did this purchase happen? That it was supposed to be used as a kennel, and then we found out we can't use it as a kennel. And then we find out that we have all these violations, and then we find out that it's going to cost us more than what the purchase price was to even pay for it. Like, how did we get to that point? Who oversaw, did someone oversee the purchase of this? Like, why was
Yes,
this not
more
looked at
than,
ahead of
more
time?
than one individual participated in that process.
And no one checked with the municipality to say, is this going to be okay for us to use it as a kennel?
I am not sure that, I don't have access to that information, as I was not one of the individuals participating in that process.
Was it somebody
So
from
I
the
would not-
administration?
Um, there was more than one person involved in that process.
And in the process of us buying it, we never thought to have an inspection done ahead of time before we purchased it. Like, wouldn't that be standard operating procedure? Like, wouldn't that be something that we would do?
Yeah, that would be a standard procedure that I would follow.
So I will say that, thank you
Sure.
for answering the questions, but I will say this. It is very disheartening that we're at this point, right? This shelter, this animal shelter has been an issue since before we got elected on council, right? And we've been trying to move ahead and been patient, trying to see how everything was going to work out. And then, there was questions of other funds that we could have used to do different things. We didn't do those things. And we're still like stuck where we were, right? The council is looking for movement and resolution to this. And we need that, right? Thank you for sharing, a lot of this happened, Dr. Manicapelli, that was not under your, under your supervision and, B.A. Richardson, but we have to fix this. The mere fact that we have to pay for these renovations to this place that we bought under the assumption that we would use it for one thing, only to find that that's not so because inspections weren't done ahead of time or people didn't verify if there were, what violations were or what have you. I'm still a little confused. Then to say that we would still be paying close to $200,000 a quarter for animals to still be housed over in Pennsylvania while we're still paying to renovate, coupled with the fact that then we have accepted donations that weren't even approved in excess of possibly like $90,000. It just baffles the mind how any of this even happened. Systems must be put in place. Things have to be done. things need to be corrected. I trust that you're going to make sure that all of that happens, but we need some resolution to this animal shelter. This has just drug on for far too long. We need people that are employed there, that are able to oversee, to make a difference, that are going to be there to actually do the work that's needed, to be done to get this thing on track.
Yes, and I can, thank you for saying that, but I can assure you that at this point, we have more than one department getting involved with this situation, trying to bring it to a prompt resolution and that we can start moving animals there and stop paying money to the kennel in Yardley.
Okay. All right, before we close this part, any other council members have any questions before we finish this part out?
Council President,
Councilwoman Edwards and then Councilwoman Frisbee.
thank you. I just have a simple question, and maybe this is an executive session question too, but I'm gonna try to keep this as generic as I can. When things like this happen and there's unauthorized expenditures and renovations and such, I would assume this is subject to disciplinary action against the employee that made this. No? Are we allowed to?
In general, I would say that, yes. But it also had to do with, is that employee supposed to know? You know, in any case, yeah, it should be an executive session.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman.
Thank you, Council President. So I have just two questions. The first one is there a procedure that's in place now going forward? If this should arise again, what is the procedure that we have in place, if any?
Well, the procedure is not in place, but we are working on an ordinance that it will put a policy in place. I have been checking different ordinances from different cities. Some cities have a $200, some others have $500, $1,000. I haven't seen anything over $1,000. And so I think that we said that we were going to put $500 as the maximum donation that we could accept. But there is a lot of other considerations that need to be thought before we accept a donation. So all that is going to be in an ordinance, because there are also conflicts of interest and that sort of things that would limit the amount to zero, you know. And so you will have that ordinance before you at the beginning of the year, because we have been working on it.
And hopefully that includes something with, that deals also with the in-kind donations, which I'm.
Definitely, because
so-
this happened to be an in-kind donation. Yes, so it will talk basically about value, right? Not necessarily cash but in-kind and cash.
And then the last question I have, Director Manabukupeli, you said that there is someone on call after 5 p.m. To serve also during the weekend. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is the ACO on call.
So if someone they find that they have an issue with an animal, is it they call the same number? And does that number follow the individual to their cell phone? How does they get, or do they have to call in and retrieve those? How does that call get to?
Yes, they will call the animal shelter and that will trigger the ACO on call cell phone.
It does go directly to their cell phone that's on call.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Council President. I want to piggyback off of Councilwoman Frisbee's question about that. I received several complaints from individuals that call about animals after hours, that the phone just rings and rings and rings, and then they call dispatch, and dispatch says that nobody is going out to pick up animals. That happens quite often. I answer my phone 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning for those phone calls. What is the validity of that, and what are we doing to mitigate those circumstances?
So we are trying to make sure that those calls are rerouted to the appropriate ACO on call, making sure that they answer the calls and they go and pick up the animals or whatever is the residents complain. Yes.
Okay. And maybe this might be something for executive session too, but I've also received complaints about certain ACOs who are on call after hours showing up intoxicated. And it's been reported on different occasions that they're showing up to, when dogs are being reported and they are completely intoxicated at the time, or they smell of alcohol or things of that nature. Has that been reported, or are you aware of any reports of that?
Have not received any reports regarding that, but if you receive them, please forward it to me.
Yeah, okay. And I think helo procedures. How is, the helo functioning? And, when dogs are being abused or neglected, and let's say if this can't be answered here, then it's fine. I just wanted to bring it up. And there's more than one animal in the house, and multiple dogs are visibly in bad shape, and it's being reported that they're being abused and neglected. How does that work? Do we take just certain animals out of the home? Do we take all the animals out of the home, or what is the procedure, and what
That is not a
required?
function of the animal shelter. It's a function of the police. The human law enforcement officers are under the police jurisdiction. So any complaints about animal cruelty needs to be reported to police.
So there's no collaboration between the two?
We collaborate, right? And sometimes if we get a call for a genetic call and one of our ACOs go to the home and then they think that there might be an animal cruelty issue, then they contact the HELO officer, but all animal cruelty complaints should be reported to police.
Thank you.
Sure.
I have a last question. I think that in discussions, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we've talked about so many things. At one point, didn't the mayor say that he was gonna establish a panel? I know it was like 5 people or something. It may have been a part of his executive order or something like that, but I remember because we had the former councilwoman that was actually expressing interest in serving on it or something like that. But there was supposed to be like a 5-person panel established to give oversight or see what's going on with the animal shelter. Can you speak to that?
Very superficially, I
Okay.
can speak about that. Yes, the executive order issued by the mayor at the beginning of the year,
Mhm.
don't quote me on the date because I don't remember, but I know that it mentions that administration needs to create a animal shelter advisory council.
Mhm.
Dr. Diego Minacapelli was not made aware of that until recently. So at the beginning of the year, he will be actually taking the necessary steps to assess if that is something that we can do at this time, or if we need to go back and reassess the executive order. But most likely, yes, it will be created.
Okay.
Council
so
President?
we can expect something in the beginning of the year.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Councilwoman Williams.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to confirm, it's called the Animal Welfare Advisory Board, and the mayor
Ah.
indeed accepted the nomination. We'll be putting forth former Councilwoman Marge Caldwell-Wilson to that body, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. So then, yeah, we'll be expecting to see that at the beginning of the year. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Ma-
you.
Madam
Right.
President,
Yes, Councilwoman Edwards.
I just have a comment. I don't know if this is a question, but definitely a comment, because Councilwoman Gonzalez and I had worked diligently to put together an ordinance to create an animal advisory board, in which the administration had pushed back on. And then the executive order came out from the mayor back in April of this year. And then here we are in December and these things have not been enacted. And I'm wondering why not? Just to their point. And it's just a comment because we were working on this and we could have had a board that could have overseen some of these processes, that could have prevented some of this, the $100,000 in-kind donation from happening, unauthorized renovations and things like that. So I had to express my disappointment in the fact that this Animal Welfare Advisory Board was never enacted. And I don't want to accuse anyone of circumventing the work of council, but we would have moved at a quicker space to at least put people on that board and things like that. So I would appreciate if this was made a priority because evidently the department needs additional help and oversight. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Edwards. Thank you,
All right,
Dr.
thank you.
Minicapelli. Mr. Garcia.
Certainly, Madam President. Next on your agenda is public comment. I do have the public comment clipboard here. We have 6 people signed up at this time. To the public comment will be 5 minutes, I
Yep.
presume.
Mhm.
For each individual, you may address any item that you wish. Please state your name and address for the record. Please do understand that the council is not obligated to respond. First person listed for public comment is Bishop Sidney Gaines.
Good evening, council.
Want to press the button at the red button on the microphone?
Good evening.
Just call me, just call me Crystal Bishop. Leave Feliciano alone.
She knows I've been having a problem with that name. Well, good evening, Crystal, President Crystal, members of the council, and fellow citizen of Trenton. I am the Bishop, Dr. Sidney L. Gaines, and I am a Trenton Police Chaplain, as many of you know. I'm also a proud member of the Trenton Civic Trust. Some of my fellow trustees are right here tonight.
Sir, before I just want to interrupt you. I just need an address from you.
419 West State Street,
Thank
Trenton, New Jersey.
Thank you. Go ahead, Matt.
Again, I am a proud member of the Trenton Civic Trust. Some of my fellow trustees are here tonight. The Trenton Civic Trustees meet monthly to research policies that are based on evidence of success, save money, and benefit the whole city. Most importantly, we work with a no-blame, pragmatic approach. Tonight, we are offering a solution for improving public safety in our city of Trenton. This solution was worked on with the assistance of the former president of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Officer and a member of the New Jersey Police Training Academy. We are not suggesting that our proposal is the answer to all our city public problems, nor is it offered as an alternative to the several proposed action already put in place. It's just meant to address the lack of de-escalation, training, and practices that contribute to excessive use of force. Next up is my fellow civic trustee, Samantha Castro, to share with you firsthand an ordinance she got adopted in her city of Perth Amboy, which is helping to change the city policing from a warrior culture to a guardian culture. I now introduce to some and present to others our civic trustee, Samantha Castro. Thank you very much.
Hi. Hello, Trenton City Council. I'm Samantha Castro.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. You are the next person listed. Council President, she is the next person listed on this listed here. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course. Samantha Castro, 451 Park Avenue, Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Um, Samantha Castro, I'm a Perth Amboy civic trustee. And in the summer of 2020, as a response to the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, I organized a protest attended by over 1,000 city residents. The march raised awareness, but there was still a need for substantial change. The point of the protest was not only to advocate for human rights and dignity, but to encourage and implement a police culture change from that of a warrior to that of a guardian. And that's with input on implementation from the New Jersey Attorney General's Office and the Yale Center for Policing Equity. A Citizens Public Safety Advisory Board was developed to encourage and monitor progress in de-escalation training and practices. Nationally, studies have shown that on average, police officers receive 8 hours of force training for every 1 hour of de-escalation training. And while many departments are beginning to increase de-escalation training practices, we have a long way to go. Our ordinance would benefit Trenton by allowing citizens, including youth leaders, to actively engage in improving the city's de-escalation training and practices. It is the first crucial step toward a trusting and symbiotic relationship between the police and the community. This ordinance requires the police department to publish an annual report on increases in de-escalation training and practices. The annual report is reviewed in public hearings conducted by Citizens Public Safety Advisory Board, which includes 2 youth members. The Citizens Board also meets regularly to research and introduce new training and de-escalation practices to the police department. The use of excessive force is life-threatening for civilians and officers. This isn't about shaming the Trenton police, nor is it about hidden agendas to expose individual officers. This is about communication and trust between civilians and those who have sworn to protect and serve. The Citizens Public Safety Advisory Board is an evidence-based practice designed to assist police departments and encourage the safety of all parties involved during officer-civilian interactions. This ordinance was developed using controlled group studies conducted by the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Following the adoption of increased de-escalation training and practices, there was a 28% reduction in use of force incidences, a 26% reduction in citizen injuries, and a 36% reduction in officer injuries. This data demonstrates the importance of developing a comprehensive effort where improvements in de-escalation training are publicly reported and subject to citizen oversight. My fellow civic trustee will give each of you and your council administrator packets, including the ordinance, creating the annual de-escalation report, and the Public Safety Advisory Board. The advisory board is a solution representing civic power and compassion. This is social advancement that was only made possible through open and honest communication, a willingness to learn, and the human capacity for empathy and community. Thank you for your attention, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have regarding the ordinance and its implementation as chair of the Perth Amboy Citizens Public Safety Advisory Board. Thank you.
Harry Pazicki. That's great. Oh, nice.
Madam Council President Feliciano and council members, my name is Harry Pazicki. I live at 172 Water Street in Perth Amboy. I'm an attorney and I served on a law and policy task force of 50 government attorneys, former mayors, et cetera, who volunteer their time. I'm a full-time volunteer myself to work with citizens like Samantha to develop laws that will better the communities in which citizens live. I'm just here tonight to answer a few frequently asked questions about the ordinance that Samantha referenced. Why are we before the council? That might be one of the questions. This is an advisory board that we're seeking. Council has the ability to take advice from the public and under its investigative powers to be able to review the actions of departments within the city. One of the other questions that gets asked, is this something like a civilian review board? It is not. It's entirely different. The focus here is on changing the culture of the department, not on any individual officers. So those are separate solutions. One last thing is that each of the members of this board, and as Samantha said, there are two youth members of the board, one 16 to 20 and one 20 to 30 years old. We're looking for that kind of interaction between the younger citizens and the police officers. There are two officers on the board as well as other citizens. They meet quarterly to research for evidence-based solutions that show that de-escalation training or practices, certain specific ones, are actually working in cities similar to Trenton. They can't even vote on any of the measures to advise them or to provide advice to the mayor, council, and police director unless they take a course at either Rutgers or Mercer County Community College in evidence-based solutions research. So these are not citizens just coming up with ideas out of their heads. They find evidence-based solutions. They work with police officers, and the results are dramatic. And as Samantha pointed out, can not only save civilians and police officers from injuries, but because of the reduction in use of force, there's tremendous savings in the litigation that occurs from use of force incidents. So we stand ready to work with the mayor, the council, the police director, the police unions, as we have in other cities before, to tailor the ordinance to meet any specific requirements of Trenton. And we'll be happy to provide you with copies of the ordinance already submitted to your administrator and to the council president, as well as a copy of this book, which is the manual published by Rutgers University Press that is used in the certification of members of the task force. And we'd be happy to answer any questions as well at this time or at any time. And I thank you very much for your attention.
Letitia Peters.
Mr. Garcia, I'm sorry, before we continue, Mr. Patsiki, do you have those packets from, you have those here? If you could give, okay, if you could give that to Mr. Osaria right there that's coming over, the young man, and then he'll distribute those to council. Thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Peters.
Good evening. My name is Letitia Peters, 1462 Stuyvesant Avenue, Trenton, New Jersey. I would like to take the time to speak to you today and put on record that there needs to be some type of testing in City Hall, because every time I come into this building, I'm feeling headaches. I break out in hives and I get really, really tired. I don't know if you have it in your plan, in your budget plan, to do any type of future testing. That's why I presented as a suggestion that we do public comments online. It was done since 2019, and then it stopped when we had a new board put into place. And I believe that in 2025, we need to look at that suggestion again, because many people are not having their rights presented as a consensus and law-abiding citizens, and hearing your opinions and being part of Trenton, New Jersey. Another thing I'd like to talk about is the investigation of the city of Trenton and the Trenton Police Department. I went to the meeting yesterday and there were some discussions about the city of Trenton and the police department coming together and doing some type of review board so that we can come together. Because right now, based on what I read, there needs to be some type of organization that is working with the police department. Because right now, some of the people believe that they are being targeted, that no matter what happens to them, they are being told that nothing will be done. And that is something that has happened to me. And it's something that this report failed to discuss is the abuse of power and authority by the Trenton Police Department. And another thing that was not indicated in this report is what are the genders and the race of the 260 sworn officers, and how many of them reside in the city of Trenton? Because they do not have an vested interest in this city if they do not live here. And we are using the buzzwords training and need for more police officers. And at this meeting yesterday, many people did not think that there needs to be more training. No more police officers, that we need to work with the current 260 sworn officers to do their job and not harass and say words such as living like animals here, and curse words, which I won't use, and calling people names such as you're dirty as S boy. This is totally unacceptable, that people are not being recognized and being held accountable by the Trenton police officers. And the Trenton Police Department is a toxic work environment that hinders the police ability to work and function effectively. And I would like the city council to allow public comments online again. And I brought this issue up again. I think this will address a lot of issues if we come together in 2025. And I believe this is a violation of First Amendment because we are not being given an opportunity to express our ideals and concerns to the Trenton City Council. Because another thing that was not discussed is that the Trenton Police Department is inflicting terror. And that is called terrorism, domestic terrorism.
Thank you, ma'am.
And
At this
that's it.
time. Okay. Sarah Thomas. No, Ms. Thomas? Sarah Thomas? Madam President, that's all the individuals I have for public comment at this time. If it's your wish, you can move on with any individual for civic comment.
Yes, thank you. Tonight, we'll start with Councilwoman Williams.
I knew you were gonna come in first. Okay. So I have some announcements that I'd like to make to keep things brief. So last night, we did not have the December Northward Citizens Police Advisory Council meeting as the DOJ meeting was happening. We want to encourage citizens to attend that. But our next meeting will be on Wednesday, January 15th at 5:30 at Galilee Baptist Church, 440 Martin Luther King Boulevard. And we're quite honored to be actually having our city law director, Mr. Wes Bridges, will be attending our meeting as our guest to tell us about our law department and answer some questions about how it functions within the city. So I think that'll be a great discussion. Additionally, coming up, we have a lot of great events happening in Trenton. And the first thing I'd like to notify people about is the winter break youth program that's being conducted through our Department of Recreation and Natural Resources. And it's from December 23rd to December 31st while kids are out of school. There are field trips involved, really great stuff like going to American Dream Mall, Hershey Park, and Disney on Ice. So for more information, please visit TrentonNJ.org/REC for rec, where you can call 609-989-3860. In addition, we will once again be celebrating Hanukkah here in Trenton on Friday, December 27th at 4:30 p.m. With the lighting of a menorah. To be able to attend that, it was a great event last year to celebrate our the Jewish faith here in our city, as we do with the holiday season, and amongst everything else with Kwanzaa and Christmas. Also a part of Patriots Week, if you haven't seen this, it's the Assunpink Fire Walk along Assunpink Creek in Mill Hill Park. It's such an amazingly cool thing to see all the firewalk pieces lit up, kind of like, I don't know how you describe it, but they're baskets of firewood up in the air, and it's how they did it back in the 1700s. So that is on Saturday, December 28th at 4 p.m. And please gather at the historic Jackson Street Iron Bridge. There's hot chocolate, cider, goodies, all kinds of stuff. It's a great time, and of course, it's free. And then finally, going to be having the Dr. Martin Luther King Day of Service next month on January 15th. We'll be gathering volunteers at Trenton City Hall atrium here at City Hall on the first floor. So please come and join for a day of service. And if you want to volunteer, register your local nonprofit or community organization, please call 609-989-3860. Again, 609-989-3860. And point of privilege, Council President, I do have something I'd like to say regarding you, but I could hold to that later. Or would you like to, if we want to say something, then, as this is your last meeting, wait till later, or?
No, you can say it now.
So I just want to say for my own self, and I'm sure my colleagues would feel the same. Just want to thank you for your service this past year, Council President. You worked very hard on streamlining many things, making processes clearer, very high energy, much appreciated. And some of the things I tried to think about, there's a lot of stuff that we'll see as a council, and maybe people will come if they see our meetings, but there's something that they may not see until it actually happens that you were instrumental in, that's going to outlast all of us. And that's going to be actually the physical improvements to this building and the ceiling above us and other improvements in this room. And Councilwoman Feliciano, Council President Feliciano, was the catalyst for that. Fortunately, when a couple things almost landed on us, but I want to thank you for being that detail oriented, that you made sure that happened. So when people come to City Council, whether it's for a meeting or a celebration, they see the beauty and the history of this building, but also that they're safe when they come here. And forever forth, the impressiveness of where we're able to do the people's business will always be known. And that's a tribute to you, ma'am. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Harrison.
I would like to first thank Director Harris and his staff for the wonderful event that they had at Cowwater Park when they were giving out the turkeys, which was a wonderful event. Helped a lot of families throughout the city. I'd like to thank Director Douglas for his hero holiday, the dinners that were given out to the many people who came out. I would like to thank the Guatemalan Civic Association for their toy drive at Unity Park. They helped a lot of family during this time of year. Would like to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa. It's good to see everybody coming together, and you should always remember that in life, we should always try to help anybody in need. So thank you to the directors, because a lot of times we ask for a lot of things up here. Thanks, Bernai. Thanks, Director Richardson, and all the directors for all your help. And thanks, my colleagues, for all your work and for us working together to help move this city forward. Thank you all. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, everyone, for being present and those who spoke today and shared some information. I'm glad that they left a packet so we can kind of review that data, because I am one in favor of a civilian police review board. So I'm curious to look through that and see the data and the stats that they have shared with us today. Just want to send prayers out to the Beecham and Givens family. I know we've had some tragic losses in our city, and I just want to say, sending prayers out to those families. Congratulations to the Trenton High boys basketball team who actually won their first opening game. Today they played again. They didn't have a win, but we want to shout them out as the season begins. So if you're able to go by and support Trenton High basketball players, please do so. I believe the girls won today also. And in the spirit of shouting out our students, I want to acknowledge our Trenton High cheerleading team who placed third in our CBC competition. I know Councilwoman Williams and I were present, and I want to say thanks for supporting the girls in that competition. Also, thank you to everyone who did toy giveaways, those who donated. I know we had a toy drive also to give away to some organizations, so we want to say thank you to everyone who donated and those who have organized and coordinated toy giveaways for our children here in the city of Trenton. I'm going to keep it really short tonight, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you to our council president and council vice president also for a great year.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Thank you, Council President. So I want to start off by saying I wish Bishop Gaines had stayed. I wanted to thank him for bringing the members from Perth Amboy here to share the information with us and giving us the information to give us something to chew on. Safety of our community is always at the forefront of everything that we do. To Ms. Leticia Peters, who also did leave, I wanted to give her an alternative for those who cannot comment online, that they can also send an email to their council representatives, be it at large or the one that is in your ward, if you cannot be present here to give your comments. We never want you to feel that your voices are silent. That's why we are here, to hear what has to be said and what concerns you. I want to congratulate and just say thank you to our council president and our council vice president on this year as it comes to a close. This is your final time of the seat with us this year. And I want to just say thank you for just showing up. But the many efforts that you have put into place is not easy. People think that sitting in the president's seat is an easy job. It is not. I thank you for doing your best to help this council grow, and for how you've done with relationship building as well to strengthen the community and your fine attention to detail. So that's what I say. Thank you to that. It is necessary. It is appreciated. And everyone will be better for it. And I want to thank our council president for sitting in and standing in to be her backup to wherever she needs. It is always good to know that you have someone that you can depend on. So thank you for sitting in this seat. Again, it is not an easy job. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Feliz Navidad, Happy Hanukkah, a Happy New Year. Happy if you celebrate do the Kinnara lighting, which we, if you want to take part, the Smith Family Foundation will be having their Kinnara lighting on this Monday, actually, here at the city. We are excited about that. I believe the time is 4 o'clock. Do not quote me. I believe it is 4 o'clock this coming Monday. But also there will be a Kwanzaa celebration at the War Memorial on Saturday, next Saturday, December the 28th, beginning at 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. That also will be at the War Memorial, and it is a free event. There will be lots and lots of vendors there, a lot of things to celebrate, a lot of information, food, and just a really great time. The entrance is free, but they have several places to go inside, and you can purchase some things, be it just food or clothing. There's going to be a really grand time. So please come out. And again, that is Saturday, December the 28th at the War Memorial, beginning at 11 a.m. I wanted to shout out to Fire Director Kenneth Douglas and to his partner in crime over there, Director Wilson. I see you over there. I just want to say congratulations. I think this was the fourth Heroes Holiday Giving, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was great to see everyone who came out. It is the community lets you know that it is something that never gets old. They come out, and you see the need, you see the need, you see the need. So thank you for what you do. To Director Harris back there, thank you for what you and your staff did for our turkey and food giveaway. Just paying attention to the needs of our community and stepping in and filling in that gap wherever there is, and you see the space to do it. To B.A. Richardson and Dr. Montecopelli, thank you for staying. Thank you for answering the questions. They're not always easy, but thank you for staying in and doing it professionally, and I appreciate that. To our other directors that are here, including Director Colin Cherry, and in our law department, thank you. And as we come to the close of our year, I just want to say thank you for all of you for your professionalism, the way you show up and you do your job, whether it is easy or not. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out here weekly. I also want to congratulate once again Councilwoman Gonzalez on her appointment and for representing not just New Jersey, but representing Trenton. We are so proud of you and excited about the work that you are doing. And to our council members, thank you again for an incredible year. I look forward to continuing the work. I thank everybody who voted for me once again to get my seat back. And for those who didn't, I thank you also because I'm still going to serve you. I read a portion of our mission statements as recognizing that the people of Trenton have made us guardians of the public trust. We are committed to govern with integrity and fiscal responsibility, to seek excellence in the city's operations, and to serve all the city's people with respect and compassion. Thank you, and of course, thank you to our clerk and his department. You are greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Edwards.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. I want to say first and foremost, thank you to all of those that came to the council meetings and to all of these public meetings regarding the DOJ report with the police department. I appreciate and am grateful for the civic and public engagement that we are witnessing from our residents. Though for negative reasons, I believe that the public input will change the dynamics of our police department as long as the police department is willing to acknowledge and accept accountability and work to implement some of these changes. And I have faith that we will, especially given the council that we have. I'm highly supportive of a civilian complaint review board to enhance police accountability and transparency, and just in recognizing the fundamental importance of public trust and accountability in law enforcement to ensure the safety and well-being of its residents. And for that, I am highly supportive of a robust civilian oversight of law enforcement agencies to foster transparency, to reduce misconduct, and to improve police community relations. So I'm looking forward to continuing the conversations that we have been having with the administration, with the police director, and with the DOJ and the public as well. And with that being said, I want to thank the police director for obliging my request when I requested to Rice, and to also meet with him in executive session to discuss a lot of the things that was brought to my attention. And though I cannot publicly say or elaborate on anything that was discussed, I would just say that this is a step in the right direction. So I appreciate that. And I want to get off of the heavy stuff. Publicly, there has been some discrepancies with our New Beginnings pilot housing program. And though when new programs are created, it's not going to be perfect straight out of the gate. And I appreciate the administration for taking the time, especially the mayor, for taking his time to do his due diligence to work with the program recipient and addressing some of her issues and concerns regarding the program. And I want to thank the mayor also for recognizing where this program fell short at and some of his ideas on how we can improve it. I have faith that this program will be what the community needs as long as those efforts continue. I also want to give a shout out to Principal Adrian Hill of Hedgepeth Williams Intermediate School. Today, their school had hosted a civic education day today where they recognized and honored the late Miss Lauren Wooten, who was our longest serving poll worker of 79 years from the age of 18 until her demise. Today there was an assembly for sixth graders where we got the opportunity to teach them. And my daughter's teacher, she goes to the school, so I didn't know about it if it wasn't for her invitation, but I appreciate having the opportunity to speak to the students about the importance of poll workers, about the importance of getting out to vote, and how the kids can get involved at their very young ages. And I gave an example of how my little one, who's 11 now, she was 8 going on 9 at the time I ran for office, and she went door to door with me, and she created her own script. I did not create her script, and she did a really good job. And I believe that if we empower our children to do more at a younger age, they will grow more civically engaged as they come of age to be able to participate either as a poll worker or as a candidate themselves, or just working on someone's campaign. So lastly, I just want to thank the council president and VP as well for their service throughout the year. Council President, I feel like you took on a lot of our processes and systems, and you improved a lot. And with the input of several, if not all, of council members, you took the time to hear us out. And I felt like I could go to you and say, this needs to improve, this needs to improve. And you really thought it out, and you really implemented some of the things that many of us had brought to your attention. And with that, I say thank you, because we are better for it, and we need these processes and systems. So thank you for your service in improving the processes of city council throughout the year. And I want to say happy holidays, whatever you celebrate or not. Happy New Year, because we won't see each other until after the new year. And thank you for coming.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Council Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I just wanted to say that, there's a lot of things wrong with our community, but there are a lot of things right. And I really just want to thank everybody in Trenton who goes out of their way to make sure those in need, or those less fortunate, or those who don't have, do have. We do that really, really well in the city of Trenton. And this year was no exception when it came to Thanksgiving and coming to Christmas. With gifts and food and things of that nature. So I really want to applaud the community for their grand efforts year after year after year to really look out for those less fortunate, who are our neighbors, our family members, those that we see every day that we may or may not realize just don't have it like some others do. So I really want to give a shout out to those. And on that note, I just wanted to say that on this Saturday at 11 a.m. at St. Bartholomew's Church at 1748 South Clinton Avenue, there's the annual Christmas toy drive, one toy per child. Children get to pick out their toy. And I also want to thank the Central Labor Council for the generous donation, along with labor, to St. Bartholomew's Church today. And those are much needed. And also on Saturday, on the 21st as well, at the Boys and Girls Club on Center Street in Trenton, from 3 to 5:30, they have their annual toy drive as well. On December 23rd, Santa Claus is coming to town, thanks to the Trenton Fire Department. Starting at 2:30 p.m., the fire trucks and Santa Claus will be driving around the city of Trenton. So please, have your families, your children out there. It's a great time for everybody. As many of the community members are looking forward to it, and we're asking if it was happening this year. And absolutely, Santa did not forget about Trenton. So as we move into the new year, I'm really excited for what's to come. It's been a great 2 years serving on this council with with my council colleagues. We've gotten so much done. We've been forward thinking. We've got a lot of mobility. We've asked some tough questions. And we've honored a lot of folks, and we've brought a lot of light to the city of Trenton. And I'm really excited that we all will remain and will all continue to be able to work together to do that as we move into new leadership, new ideas, new approaches. But I'd be remiss if I didn't take the moment to appreciate Council President Feliciano on the great job that she did organizing, honoring, uplifting, seeking strategy, answers, and transparency from not only us on council, but also from, Trentonians and administration. She did an excellent job of that. She really set a high bar, high precedent for anybody following suit. Organization skills through the roof, which I don't know who's going to be able to fill that seat. I think she was a nun in a past life, to be honest with you, with the ruler. But Council President, we do thank you for all the hard work, all the extra hours that you worked tirelessly, effortlessly, and not just on council and every other thing else that you do, all your other organizations and participation, you know, in your own personal life. So just thank you for everything that you did in this past year. I know that I'll speak for myself. It was greatly appreciated, and I learned a lot under you as vice president. And I just look forward to the year to come. So happy holidays to everybody, as my council colleagues said. And, you know, I didn't get to celebrate Thanksgiving this year. I was running for my life still. But I do hope to be able to sit down and celebrate Christmas with my family and loved ones. So thank you all and have a wonderful evening and enjoy your holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President. So good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I mean, the directors are kind of stuck here at this point, but thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone that spoke tonight. Thank you for everyone that is here tonight in the audience. Thank you for everyone that is viewing. It is my last evening, my last council meeting as council president here in the city of Trenton. It has been one heck of a ride over this past year. I'm honored to have served 2 years in leadership here on the council, and I thank my colleagues for extending me the opportunity to step in and to lead. Over this past year, if the lists I have in front of me are correct, we actually passed 67 ordinances, 7 of them I authored. We adopted 129 ABC resolutions. We adopted 533 resolutions, 17 of which I authored or co-authored with other people. I say that to say we have really moved this city forward. We have really done that. When we talk about streamlining and putting processes together, thank you to the council for trusting me for 2 years with putting the budget review process together. We move with great precision and accuracy as we move through looking and diving in and asking and getting the answers to the question. Thank you for moving into the consent agenda, right, and trusting the process, doing your due diligence and homework to review everything to make sure that when we go to the vote, we know exactly what we're voting and why we're voting in that way. To Clerk Brandon Garcia, shout out to you for trusting the process and working with me as we talk about things that were needed in the office. The way that you stepped in and trusted about doing the Oprah training and everything, right? You did a great job. You did a training for the directors here, and then you also brought in the GRC, right, and had them do the public training. So kudos to you for trusting and stepping up, right, in your leadership capacity. A lot of people don't understand why sometimes, you know, conversations are had, right? The president does deal with the clerk, you know, just for the docket and the agenda and everything, but I'm a very hands-on type person, right? And so I want everybody to grow, and that is just who I am by nature. So when I see potential in people, I jump on, I take it, and I run. And I'm grateful that you trusted me enough that you're allowing it to go. So as you continue to grow and be great, your department will continue to grow and be a wonderful department with us here servicing the council and the public. So thank you for all your hard work and your dedication and your capacity. Thank you to each and every single director for everything that you do, for answering all the questions, for being available, for being accessible, for being who you are, right? For dealing with the tough questions. A lot of people don't know, right? When we sit in docket review with the BA and the assistant BA and the law director, right? And CVP and Mr. Garcia, right? We get down to the nitty gritty, but thank you for answering, right? And thank you for doing your due diligence and providing us with the answers that we need, right? Because we're looking to move the city forward. I want to thank Mayor Gusiora right? For him, for working with me, for working with the council. Again, I'm an inclusive person. I am not selfish by any nature. I believe in extending invitations to all the council members. So thank you to CBP Figueroa Kettenberg for stepping in places that I could not be, for representing the council with excellence when you spoke. Thank you for stepping in and being with me as we work through some of the tough questions. Thank you for sitting up with me till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, answering Miss Letitia Peters' questions, right? And then we shouted over to Mr. K, and then he kicked it right on back, and we was moving and grooving in the late hours of the night, the things that the people will never see and people will not know, but the work that's being done. Thank you just for being a good sounding board, CVP Figueroa Kettenberg. Thank you for your love of the city. Thank you for pushing hard in your ward and through the city at large. And for when I would give you certain things to handle that I just didn't have the time or wanted to help you to grow in those areas, you took it full force and ran full speed ahead with it. That again is a sign of exemplary leadership. So I thank you for that. And then to my council colleagues, thank you, thank you, thank you, right? Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for trusting the process. And then thank you for working with me as I look to work with us to move us in a great direction. We have a great relationship with the DCA. I have to say, shout out to Mr. Teresi and Ms. Suarez and everyone that I've had the opportunity to sit down and have the conversations with. I'm gracious for their feedback to me about how it has been good with all of us working together to continue to move the city forward. And I look forward to other people that will step up into leadership to carry the torch and continue to do the great work. I'm excited for the leadership, and I'm excited to pass the torch on to the next person, because that's what leadership does. See, the best leader is not the one that sits in a position to claim the title. The best leader is the one that can inspire and educate others and then plant the seeds and water them to let them grow and then to watch them go to higher heights. And so I am excited for what's to come. I thank you all for your time, your attention. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy New Year and all that good stuff. And I pray God's blessing upon each and every one of you. Thank you for letting me serve in this capacity over the past year. I appreciate you all. Mr. Garcia.
Certainly, Madam President. And I will tell you that it has been a pleasure working with you throughout this year as well. We
Thank you.
are moving on with the agenda at this time. If you want to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of September 3rd, September 5th, October 15th, October 17th, and November 7th.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for September 3rd, September 5th, October 15th, 17th, and November 7th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards,
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes,
Motion carried. And Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve communications and petitions.
absolutely. May I have a motion to approve communications and petitions?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards,
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on with ordinances for second reading at this time and public hearing. Ordinance 24-77, an ordinance providing for the implementation in the city of Trenton of 5-year tax exemption and abatement pursuant to NJSA 40A21-1 et sec, and approving property tax abatement for residential properties in need of rehabilitation. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to.
Sorry, Council President, I just want to make one quick comment on this.
Councilwoman
Just-
Gonzalez.
Thank you. Just because I had a lot of questions and
Mhm.
emails in regards to this, I just want to state for the record that after speaking to Director Liston, that anyone who has completed a redeveloper's application prior to this transition, that those will still be honored. So I just wanted to make that public for those who have been asking and emailing and pulling me aside. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards,
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Council President Feliciano?
Yes.
Motion carried. And moving on to resolutions, Madam President, are there any items that you wish to extract for questions to the directors or extract from potential consent agenda?
Any council members that have any questions on resolutions beside, not the walk-ons, but the ones that are on the
Right.
agenda in front of us? Anyone have any questions?
I'm sorry, Madam President, for that matter, may I go ahead and recite the walk-ons?
Yes.
Thank you. We've labeled these walk-ons, and I'll go ahead with the numbers as well. 24-569, resolution accepting and awarding a negotiated contract to Yardville Animal Hospital for veterinarian services for the Department of Health and Human Services, Trenton Animal Shelter, for a period of 1 year from the date of award in an amount not to exceed $75,000 at $180 per hour. RFP 2024-27B.
What was the number on that again?
24-569.
569. Thank you.
Resolution 24-570, resolution authorizing the city of Trenton to exercise the option to extend the shared services agreement entered with the county of Mercer pursuant to resolution 24-428 to provide public health services and ensure public health practice standards of performance for local boards of health in New Jersey. That would be again 24-570. Resolution 24-571, resolution authorizing the cancellation of various grant balances from the federal, state, and county governments in the amount of $2,549,235.53. And that again is resolution 24-571. Resolution 24-572, resolution authorizing transfers to the American Rescue Plan Act 2024, appropriations in total amount of $1,551,805.88. Again, resolution 24-572.
Thank you.
Those are the walk-on resolutions I have at this time. I'll defer right to you, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. So council, are there any questions about any of the resolutions now, including the walk-ons that you have before we move to consent agenda?
Madam President?
Yes.
So I don't have a question really on this one. Resolution 24-555.
Okay.
It talks about the first paragraph, whereas December 7th, resolution number exercises option to exceed the contract with Trenton Health, 1 West State Street, 4th floor. That should be 3rd floor.
Dr. Minikapelli? One West State Street. That's
Mhm.
all.
Oh,
It's
I'm on the,
State Street, not here.
never mind. Thank you.
Never mind.
But
Thank
it's,
you.
she said it, it's not here. I'm
Right.
thinking this building, we only have 3 floors in this building. It's not you, it's me. Thank you. We're good on that one, yes.
Any council members have any questions? Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
551, ma'am, and 556.
Okay.
Thank you.
551 and 556.
And I'm also with 556 as well.
Okay. Any other council members have any questions on any other resolutions, including the walk-ons?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilwoman Edwards.
I would like to ask for a roll call for 552.
Roll call, yeah, okay, roll call on 552. Mr. Garcia. Yep.
Comment for resolution 24559.
All right, 1 second. 24-559, okay. Anyone else?
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
just questions about the walk-on 24-571.
Okay. 71. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Let's begin. 24-551. B.A. Richardson.
Good
Councilwoman
morning, Council
Williams.
President.
Thank you. Hello. Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you, B.A. Richardson.
Mhm.
So I wanted to ask about this remediation project. So with this, my understanding is this land will be redeveloped um, at some point, potentially in the near future. So we would be on the hook as a city for any remediation. And this remediation's already been discovered, the types of it, et cetera. So can you explain to us how long the process is going to take, and will it delay any potential sale of the land?
Yes, this process should take 4 to 5 months, and no, it will not delay the process of the redevelopment deal that we have been discussing.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is going on consent.
Yes, consent, please.
Thank you. Next, we have 24-556. We have Councilwomen Williams and Frisbee with questions. That was the one we just did, consent, yes. All right, Councilwoman Williams.
Hi, Director Terry. Thank you very much for speaking. So I wanted to ask you, with this, obviously, I'm sure I don't have to tell you how many citizens in Trent will be very happy to have these speed limit signs located in the city. And I understand we're purchasing 25 of them, so they will definitely I don't know, hopefully, I don't know how you're going to decide where they go, but can you roughly give us an idea where some of them may go at some of our worst intersections in the city or streets? And then if this is immediately successful, will we be able to order more?
Good evening, Council President,
Mhm.
Council. Yeah, this is a traffic calming measure we're trying to do because every time I go to the community meetings, the complaints we get a lot is about speeding. They're asking for speed humps. And we cannot put speed humps everywhere in the city. And the police, people saying police are not responding or they're not doing anything. So we decided to, with the help of the BA, to help us out to get some of these signs, which we are already using right now. We put them in some schools. So my goal is to put them around schools area, hospitals, and some residents where we have a lot of traffic violations. And with that, hopefully, because it gives, lets you know how fast you are going. So this is what that is. And we're buying a lot of them. So we're going to use it in a lot of places in the city.
Okay, so with only having 25 of them, but particularly, like, I'm thinking for my North Ward, we have a lot of issues, like even just on Broad and Market, which is a 4-lane highway essentially, and I know there's county jurisdiction, but other places like Race Street, that's another area that has a lot of problems with speeding. But even some of our long cross streets like State Street, North Clinton, MLK at certain parts, Princeton Avenue, really once people get away from MLK. So is there a potential we would be able to order more by the end of the year for installation of the year of 2025?
Yes, that's our intention. Yes, we are
Okay.
getting more of those. Yeah.
All right, that would be great, because with just having 25 of them and having 4 wards, it would be great for all of us to have more of an opportunity to utilize these. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Consent for my opinion, ma'am.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yep.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Director Honor, for your time. I wanted to just say one thing and then I have a question. This I'm excited to see on the docket. One, I know that it is in response to our shortage of crossing guards, folks requesting the speed humps, and also to having police officers present at various locations, especially schools during the morning. I do see that this is 25 of them, and I'm glad to see that they're going to be in the areas of schools. My concern originally was that there are only 25 of them, but now as I go through my mental register, I realize that there are some schools that already have these in place. So as you are going forward with this, and they are going out into various places in the community, to making sure that you work with the members of council to identify those places that are, the community has been voicing their concern about, and making sure that we get them in those locations, if we can't get them at all the locations at one time. And also, of course, making sure that it is appropriately divided for each ward, so that each ward feels the presence of these, because every ward, everyone will say, well, I need, every one of us needs it, because I could tell you about a whole bunch of stories, as I'm sure all of the rest of my colleagues would. So, yes, just making sure, my question is, will you work with council to make sure that we can help identify problem areas that a lot of the residents have identified, or that we know of ourselves, for this?
Thank you, Councilwoman. Let me say this, anything we do in public works that you approve money for, I'm always very cognizant of making sure I have everyone's involved in what we do. Just like when we do road construction, I don't just do road construction in the west or just south. I try to give equal numbers of what we do because of what you said. I don't want any council to think, oh, why is Wally not doing something in my area? So we definitely do that. And when you talk about these signs, we have more than what you are saying. But right now, what we've put out there is just those numbers. But definitely next year, like you said, Councilwoman Williams, we're going to be putting more out there. So we're going to make sure we put it in every school area in each ward. And like you said, I would definitely like to reach out to you, each council members, to let you know where schools area that we are putting. And we're not just doing public school, we're also doing all schools. You know, that's one of our priorities, to make sure all schools, because all our children goes to these schools. So that's the goal.
And those parks, that was also, I would love seeing that as well. I'm glad that you've included that in there. Do we by chance know how many of these we have already in the city? Or
Right
approximately?
now, I believe we have roughly 35 that we have,
okay.
and we've put them in a major thoroughways. Like when you talk of Stuyvesant, because you have people flying by, and it's unfortunate we cannot put speed home there.
Right.
But the schools, we have like what, 3 schools in that area alone. So, and the park is there also. So we definitely have a lot there. And we're gonna do this all over the city.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For consent for me, please.
Thank you. Consent.
No, wait, Counselor, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Quick question.
Council Vice President.
Thank you. Hi, Director Anatary, how are you? Really quick question. I'm really actually, I love this, this resolution because, as you said, there are a lot of asks for speed humps in the city, and it's just not feasible to have them on every street. I know that I've submitted several petitions for several streets, and a lot have been approved. Shout out to Mr. Santor and the Traffic Division for that. And while we're talking about that, before I ask about I'm curious, when we talked about speed humps, just what, other than emergency routes, what would be determination for speed humps to not be allowable on certain streets in the city?
One of the, when you talk about major streets where you have the public, the buses go through, we don't put it in those areas. And any area that is not just inner, when you talk about major street examples, Stuyvesant Avenue, West State streets, those major streets, we cannot put speed humps on them. Again, it's not something just for, we have to go with the NJDOT rules that does not allow us to do that.
Okay, and I know this resolution speaks to alternatives to speed humps, which I'm grateful for, as I said. But also I just asked that when speed humps are installed, that they are painted and visible, like the ones behind Trenton High, they're not, and there's not signs indicating that they're speed humps. I know they're there to slow people down, and they absolutely do, especially if you didn't see it coming. So I just asked that in the future that all of them are marked accordingly so that people do see the speed humps when they're coming.
We do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President.
You got one too? Okay, so Councilwoman Edwards and then Councilman Harrison.
I just have a quick question. And this is just a follow-up relative to these flashing speed limit signs, because this is something that Councilwoman Williams and I had specifically asked Mr. Santora when he, obliged our meeting of a walk around of the Ferry Street area. He had told us that in order to implement some of the things that we were suggesting that we needed for those intersections along Ferry Street, bridging down to Center Street, when I had recommended four-way stop signs and then also some type of traffic remediation from that exit ramp off of Route 1 that pours right to Parker School right there and into the neighborhood. It's a disaster. And the trucks always hit that bridge or tip over, and it's a nightmare of all the traffic that's going onto the Trenton Makes Bridge, and they clog up that area so bad that it's nearly impossible to travel all straight down from Center Street to South Warren to get on 29. You can't even get across that intersection because they're bumper to bumper, and then you have people coming from the opposite way. They block the other side coming from under the Trenton Makes Bridge to come into the city. They can't even come in. You can't get across. It's a nightmare, and this is every single day, multiple times a day. So with that being said, I want to say we did approve some type of traffic engineer or something like that to be like a bid to put out for that.
Yes,
Mhm.
what we normally do when we have that situation is we have under our contract, we have an engineer that do a study. I think we did something on MLK. That's how we end up with temporary
Right.
sign right there now, but they plan to put a traffic light there. Wherever we have that situation, I would definitely look into that and see if we can have a study in that
Right.
area.
Right, thank you, because just to follow up with that, because this flashing speed limits was also a part of that request for that area, because they open up like a speedway, like they're still on Route 1 when they come off that highway, and they've killed my dog on that street, hit and run. While I was walking across the street with my dog, I've seen multiple cars. That was April 19th, 2022. There was multiple cars that have been destroyed, hit and runs, intoxicated drivers that have been hunted down by residents going over. They chased them to PA, and it's been crazy. So we petitioned for speed bumps on that street because the Parker School is right there, and the kids can't even like safely travel. But I want to say, do you have a timeline on when this engineer will be hired to do this study and when that will be completed?
What I'm going to do with this study, when I get back to the office tomorrow, I will talk to Anthony and see what we have. We have already an engineer. All we have to do is just present it to the engineer to go out there and do a study. And then hopefully within 2 months, we should be able to get something back.
Okay.
And then we'll be able to move on to it in January or February.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Director Onatary, I'd like to thank you and Anthony Santor for listening to the council and the community. This is a great idea. It's more about addressing the community's needs, because like you said, there's a problem with speeding. I know when you do your speed humps, some of them seem to be a little higher, which I kind of particularly like, because that maybe will slow people down a lot more. Some are a little lower, but I wish they'd keep them a little higher so that we can maybe slow down. You're right. Some of the, because you have a lot of kids that are walking around the city, and we want to look out for them, kids, dogs, senior citizens. So thank you again. Thank you and Mr. Santor for your hard work. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So everybody, this is going on consent?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. 24,559. Director Douglas, come on down.
So I actually, well, this is, although it is that what, was it just me, Madam President? But this, so the question really isn't for Director Douglas, actually for BA Richardson. It's in regard to the security system. So I'm glad to see that we are installing these security systems for fire headquarters. I think it is greatly needed.
Thank you.
So that's really all I have for you. I wanted to comment to Director BA BA Richardson about, and I don't know if I can do this for the security in this building. Thank us, go for it. So my question is, I'm excited to see that we have the machine downstairs. That is really exciting to see that we've started to step up with our security. folks who I have seen that are coming through the door, they're not all going, putting their purses or bags or possessions through there. So we need to make sure that our security gets comfortable with making sure people put their belongings through there. But I'm going to just put this out there because we've been asking since we've been on here, are we going to get one for bodies? I would love to see so that if security, when folks come through, that their bodies, we know that there's metal on that. Purses and everything are nice because people don't always carry it in their purse, especially if they know everybody, first of all, doesn't carry a purse. And so,
Well,
yeah.
I carry it on my purse.
All right. Thank you so much for the admission.
Um, Wally, I think you have more information than me about that. But one of the reasons why we started the installation process, and we are now in the process of training the security guards.
Okay.
But regarding the body ones, Director on Interior will be able to provide more information about that.
Thank you.
Director Douglas, just stand there and smile. Thank you.
It's my. I'm sorry, I had to use it like it's security. I can bring it in.
Council President, the body scanner we have, is to allow the security to be able to scan everybody coming the city, the residents and the employees, because we're trying to make sure that everybody in this building is secure and safe. So we're trying to do the best we can to get it done. That's what that is for.
But the bodies are not going through that machine. Only, I'm talking about a metal detector, right, that they have to come through the door.
Yes.
So that's a purse. So that's a little bit biased. I'm just saying, because men don't carry purses. So bags and all that goes through there. But I'm talking about when I go through a metal detector that says, oh, someone has something on them that we need to check.
Well, it's not to look at the whole body, it's just to make sound, because if you have something on you that you did not put on the table, then definitely it's going to make a sound. That's where they're going to put you to the side.
How do you know they don't take it off of their person, out of their pocket, out of their?
I mean, once they go through the scanner, and if there's a sound, then the security is going to approach them and says, ma'am or sir, can I see what you have in your pocket? And we're working with the police to have, an armed officer in the building also to be able to help us arrest this situation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Douglas. Let me help using your ordinance, your resolution.
You could turn the microphone off as you walk away.
Okay.
That's on
Thank
consent.
It's on consent, right? That's it.
Madam President,
Wait a minute. We're on resolution 24-571. You had something for that one? Oh, I'm sorry. I knew you was 571. Okay, who did you want?
Director Wiley Onateri.
Okay, Director Onateri, could you come back, please? I'm sorry.
Council President, I also have one question
For 24-559?
for Director Onateri. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Director. Regarding so there will be metal detectors and the scanners you put your bags and things in, and they will have wands and things.
Thank you.
For this, yes. So
Say
they
that
will
again.
have hand wands,
We
metal
do.
detectors.
Yes.
And they will have the bag scanners.
That's correct. Yes.
I noticed that downstairs here in City Hall, we also have a bag scanner now. I know this is irrelevant to this, but kind of relevant. Is City Hall going to be getting metal detectors? Are we going to get treated with the same sense of urgency as the fire department? Because we've been asking for 2 years.
In fact, yes, you're right. And we had a lot of situation that the reason why we didn't get it, but now we do have it. We're installing it right now. I don't know if you went through that door now, you will see something there.
There's
That's-
a bag scanner. Was there? a
The
metal
bag scanner,
detector?
they're gonna install the other one too, yes.
Oh, going to, okay. all
Yes,
right.
they're going
Thank
to.
you.
Yes.
I was like, I didn't see that.
Councilwoman Williams, don't you go anywhere
Okay,
yet.
thank you.
Don't
And
you
the
go
director-
anywhere, Director
director?
Onateri. Come on back.
You're almost home free. Just a quick question, with these security changes, and I'm very happy they're having them, I do share my colleagues' concerns. Regarding the security guards, we will not, are we going to be reducing the number of guards down to just one guard if it's after 4:30 and there's no meetings that night? Or will there always be two guards on duty so there's a backup and a buddy system?
Well, what I'm trying to do right now is to reduce the number of guard we have, unless where we have something going on by the council in the building, then we will have more.
Okay, but on the days where there's no council, zoning, or planning, will there be two guards while there's, anyone here till like 7 o'clock, or how does that
Well, I
work?
mean, right now the city closed down at 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
When you are not here, the city closed, employees goes home at 4:30. So by 5:30, the security can also leave. By that time, everybody will be gone.
Oh, so there'll be no security at 5:30,
After
after 5:30?
yeah.
Okay, so just in case you all are working late, I know what most of you do.
I mean,
actually.
if I do work late, and I don't think I need a security guard for me, I'm fine.
Well, you're the James Bond, but,
So,
all right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
So,
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
thank you, Council President. So really quick, just to that point,
Yes.
because I kind of missed that. Are you saying we're not going to have two security guards if someone is staying late? They will only be reduced to one?
no, if we have,
We
if something is going on, if the council is in the building,
Mm.
or we have an event going on,
Then
in the
you'll have
building,
more than one?
we'll have more than one.
Okay,
But on those days where everybody's gone, by 5:30, they'll be gone. So they will only have one security for 1 hour after the closing hours.
okay. Because I was gonna say that's concerning. Like I would rather see two, even
Yeah,
for
I
you,
share that.
Director Terry. I know you might be tough and you could probably handle a couple of people, but I don't think it's safe for just one person to
Mhm.
be here. That's all. So I was gonna express that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say officially, I agree with my colleague. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Council
you.
President- Council President.
Okay,
Oh.
Councilman Harrison.
Mr. Onateri, the wall, where the door swings open for security, that wall should be higher in my mind because it's low and people could get access to the security.
Which wall?
On the side where they go in.
You mean
door?
their door, the
The
small door
door,
they have?
yeah. Can you make that higher?
We've tried to do that, but it's not possible because of what we have right now. The shape doesn't have, the door have to have something that have to be attached to it.
Right.
But we don't have that there. It's only glass we have on the side, the bulletproof glass, and they cannot do that.
You can't put it into the wall there.
No.
Okay.
Now, you remember, these two buildings is so difficult for me to do anything because it's historical,
Right.
that somebody's going to say something. So we have to be very careful on what we attach to the building or take away from the building.
Right. And that area, remember I told you before, right behind the security guards, right behind there's that area right there, that little,
That's where we used to have telephone booth.
well, that's what I'm saying. You used to have the telephone booth, right? You could always block that in and put, lockers for the employees, for security, put like a break area, because that way the security people, if they're not there, they could go right there, take a little time out for themselves, instead of having to going down in the basement, it would be right there. I'm just saying, right now the space is not really utilized. I mean, we put things up on the wall or something there or whatever. It's an empty
Wait.
space.
We'll look into that.
Okay.
We'll look into that.
Thank you, Director.
All right, thank
Appreciate
you.
that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, run now. Go now. Don't look back. Right. 24,571. Councilwoman Edwards.
Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Director, not Director anymore, BA.
Hello.
I just wanted to ask for a brief explanation as to why we're canceling of a lot of these various grants. I see that there is an explanation on the second page of these things being expired and or needing to be canceled and things like that. The ones that are expired, is there a reason why with some of these grants weren't fully allocated and spent out?
Yes, there are let me see. Do you have questions to specific ones?
There's a lot, so.
Yes,
on that
many of them are because, for example, the strengthening grant is for the Department of Health. For several years, that grant was considered a risk grant from the state until 2023, when I actually started working as the acting director of health. And when I started to attend the meetings, and I realized that we were considered a risk grantee, we started to put some measures in place to be able to spend the money. That money is specific for hiring certain positions to make the Department of Health, particularly the promotion unit, stronger and better. We were having, in some cases, problems hiring certain professionals, like licensed professionals. And so we were not able to spend the money on time. We need to return it when it's for a specific purpose. In other cases was because the individuals who were running the grant didn't adjust to the specific requirements of the grant, and the state didn't approve it. But those were that was not the common problem there. There is a large grant, and I'm sorry, but I cannot see it here. It's a DEP one from Green Acres, and that is not, oh yes, I see it. It's for $1,200,000. That is not that we are returning the money, but that we created a G account instead of a capital account. And so we are basically eliminating the account, not returning the money. The money is in a capital account.
Yeah.
Okay, so I really freaked out when I saw this request to close all those grants, and I'm like, hold it, we are using the money. We are not, this is not expired. It's just for accounting purposes, it's not a G account, but because it's a long-term grant, it's considered capital.
Okay, but we're still keeping that money. We're just putting it in a
Yes,
different type of
yes,
account. So it's
yes.
not technically being canceled.
No, we are not canceling it. We are just canceling the account, not the money or the balance.
Okay, and then number 12 on here, it says that it should not have been created in grants.
Yes, that's the same,
That's
the same
Same.
situation. Yes.
And for the ones that expire, there's quite a few that have expired, but some of them will have like really low balances. But some of these are like strengthening local public health.
Yes.
I'm not really too concerned about the summer ones because I definitely saw that the summer programs existed and things like that. And, it's very low balances. You probably just, couldn't spend it or didn't need it at the time. But the other ones, like the one that I mentioned, the strengthening local public health is quite a few.
Yes, and those were the ones that I was referring at the beginning. Those are for specific positions. And if we are not able to hire those positions just because I give you an example. One of the positions that we were supposed to fund with this grant was a health educator. And it took us, well, I can tell you that when I posted the position, it took me almost a year I don't know what was the experience with the previous directors, but in my case, it took me almost a year to hire somebody for that position. And I have to make a commitment with the state that I will hire somebody from the staff that was willing to go through the licensing process to get licensed for the position, and we were able to hire somebody. But if we are not able to hire those positions, then we need to return the money to the state.
Okay.
And that is the case for that strengthening grant.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those were.
BA Richardson, real
Sure.
quick. I think that as, when whoever is preparing these spreadsheets is preparing them, in the notes section where you would identify like the $1.2 million about the reclassification
Yes.
of it to a capital account, that should be in the notes reflected there. Just, you know what I mean? Just state reclassified to C, blah, 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 blah. So I'm on number 10, line number 10. Just put the reclassification in the notes. That would make it a lot easier to the eyes so that people know. Also, when it comes to these grants and everything, and the cancellation, expiration, or whatever is going on with it, I do recall in the beginning that it's always been like an audit finding that we need to work on with that. I know before in the beginning, I had asked about getting a grants administrator, someone that can oversee the grants throughout the city, just to make sure to be tasked with knowing the deadlines, the filings, and all of that kind of stuff like that. Are we considering that at all?
Yes, we actually, it's, it's funny that you mentioned that because I just asked personnel this week to look for a resume that I remember reading like 6 months ago of somebody that applied for a contract administrator in another department, but I thought that that person would be good for the city as a whole. So that position is being posted and we are contacting a couple of those folks that applied before. So probably February or around that time, we will have a contract administrator to
Good.
deal with ground citywide.
And that'll be able to help out with that. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so Councilwoman Edwards, consent? Thank you. Thank you, B.A. Richardson.
Thank you.
With that being said, may I have a motion to appoint the following to consent agenda? Resolution 24-551, Resolution 24-553, Resolution 24-560, 562, 566, 567, 554, 555, 561, 556, 563, 564, 557, 559, 558, 565, 569, 570, 571, and 572.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards,
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Gettenberg,
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve the loan roll call resolution?
Yes, may I have a motion to approve Resolution 24-552?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards,
Abstain.
did I hear abstain?
Yes.
Noted. Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg,
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, I believe those are all the items we have this evening.
Well, council, this is it. I'm so glad we've had this time together. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So
So,
moved.
second.
Let's go. Come on.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards,
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg,
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Absolutely.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried, meeting adjourned.
All right.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, Happy New Year.